Michael, I have a dream.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
All right. January begins with two big birthdays of legends.
We celebrate the dreamer and the greatest as we head into this third week of January.
Oh man, talk on Tuesdays. We're getting ready to go. Let's go. All right, we are getting it together with Talk on Tuesdays. Oh my goodness. We are back on this third week. I can't believe this January is going by real quick. I don't know about you, Michael. January is going by real quick.
Yeah, some days a little bit faster than others.
Exactly. And we are available. Our Talk on Tuesdays is available right here on our YouTube channel, streaming to our Interludes private Facebook. Anyone can join. You just had to, abide by the rules because we actually have some. We're
We
actually
got
on.
rules,
We got rules, man. You can't be just saying anything all willy nilly on the group.
confabulating, agitating,
Inter-
imitating.
Inter- Interludes is on LinkedIn as well. And thanks to Mark Lee, we are now streaming on Interludes.
Mark
Is on Pod
Lee,
TV.
Friday,
Yay.
Kakalaka. Yeah, no
Okay.
Kakalaka.
And
Raise
I
up,
love
take
it.
your shirt
I,
off. Not this shirt,
I
though.
love it. I love
Keep
it.
your shirt
And
on.
guys, this is coming. It's a webinar that I'm gonna be teaching. Find your voice,
Webinar.
a webinar, a podcasting webinar for beginners. And I'm your host, Voice. And every Saturday this month, we'll be teaching. I'll be teaching. I like to say will, but I'll be teaching. And you guys go ahead and sign up for it. We'll ask
She be
our
teaching, you be
moderator
learning.
tips you'll be learning how to start.
And you also learn why it's called a podcast, which some people don't know.
So
There's the
go
reason.
ahead and I'll ask Kevin to put it in the chat. But guys, go ahead and
Kevin's here.
Kevin is
What?
here. Kevin is here, and
Kevin,
become a future
Kevin,
sponsor
Kevin.
of Interludes by going to the website in the chat, linktr.ee/pure light media. Thank you so very much.
Pure Media Light.
Pure Media Like. Give us a shout wherever you're watching from in the chat. I'm talking a big old shout. And here's I think Kevin saying, "Hey y'all, hey Kevin, how you
Hey,
doing?"
shout. Shout. Let it all out. You know,
So
these are things you can't do without. Interludes Extra, Talk on Tuesday. You can't do without it, can you?
mm-mm, I know I can't. And now I know about one of the birthdays. I am
Okay.
educated. Everyone is educated on the Martin Luther King birthday, and it's ironic. His actual birthday is the 15th. We honor him every third Monday of January
Because it's a federal holiday.
because it's a federal holiday that was fought for decades,
Hard
and it
fought.
finally came through.
It was
Hard
fought
fought.
hard like hard fried chicken at a Chinese restaurant. Fry
Right,
hard. Fought
exactly.
hard.
Exactly. But who is the other birthday? You
Well,
said something at the top.
King would have been 94, on the 15th.
Mhm.
And as you and I both remember when, Stevie Wonder was rallying folks to get that as a holiday. But now in Illinois, this today marks the second anniversary of a day honoring a sports legend who had a home in
Mhm.
Chicago. He raised his family here. His daughter still lives here. And he made an imprint on this city And it's for a number of reasons. One, because it's one of the greatest cities in the world, but two, it was also close to his spiritual home for a while, which was a Nation of Islam. Floating like a
Mm.
butterfly, sting like a bee.
Sting like a bee. All right.
You know who that is? Who that,
Uh,
man?
that is the professional boxer who was known first when he started as Cassius Clay, and then
You know what? His mama called him Clay. I'm gonna call him
I'm gonna
Clay.
call him Clay. Oh my gosh. But no,
That
seriously,
boy
it
good.
is that boy good. That boy good. So Muhammad Ali, and that is the birthday that I was not aware of. I was
Back
not aware of. Mhm.
January 17th, back in 1942. Tuesday, officially in the state of Illinois, where
Mhm.
we're coming from, the great state of Illinois. Tuesday today is Muhammad Ali Day. And this is the second Muhammad Ali Day. The first one took place last year. So we've had a couple of these Muhammad Ali days, and the reason is that it's not just a means of his ethnicity, but also his background. And tonight, locally, a Muslim Civic Coalition is screening a documentary of him at the DuSable Black History Museum here in Chicago.
Wonderful.
So this
Yes.
is so they've been doing things, each year something different, honoring Ali and Muhammad Ali Day. And it's really interesting because there are so many amazing people who have come through Chicago, and that's certainly one of those people. And along with King's birthday, we honor King. We think about all the great things over the weekend. You certainly saw celebrations throughout the country and probably throughout the
Mhm.
world, marking that special day of that special man and the movement that he came to represent. But then on the other hand, almost a yin to the yang, you got Muhammad Ali, who if Martin Luther King was a pacifist, goodness knows Muhammad Ali was a fighter in terms of what he believed in, right? He was someone who stood up for his values in the face of criticism, in the face of harsh
Mhm.
judgment. He lost
Mhm.
his title at some point
Mm.
because of his beliefs. He stood up.
Right.
He was one of those
Mhm.
first athletes who, didn't just play their sport, but also spoke about what was going on from a place of strength and knowledge. And because of that, even though at times, his career had its ups and downs, we remember him as the greatest. And not just the greatest in
Mhm.
the boxing ring, but outside of the boxing ring as a humanitarian, as someone who advocated for civil rights, for human rights, someone
Mhm.
who, like Dr. King, has said, I was talking to a class this morning about King as well as Muhammad Ali, and there were two things they agreed upon. There were some things they didn't agree upon, especially since Muhammad Ali was part of the Nation of Islam, so he had some differences
Right.
with Dr. King and
Mhm.
his philosophy coming out of Christianity. But
Right.
the two places they agreed were equality for all in
Mhm.
America, and the second, they were both against the Vietnam War. And because
Right.
of that, they were against war and for peace. And in that way, these two men, as historians learn, they were back channels. They talked to each other. They were in communication with one another. It wasn't just what people saw on TV. It was this other relationship. And I think, sometimes it takes time to learn about these things. We
Right.
see
And
we see
and
the factual side, and sometimes we see it played out in fiction, like in 4 Days in Miami, which is a great movie that talks about Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, and some of the other things he was thinking about during that time in the 60s.
all right. And uh to be clear, Muhammad Ali was born on this day back in 1942, and I think of all of the people that have portrayed him on screen, because there's been a lot of actors that portrayed Muhammad Ali on screen. I think Will Smith is one of the actors I felt like nailed it in 2002's Ali. Michael, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I said yes. Yes. Will Smith nailed that role as long as also nailed Chris Rock in subsequent years.
One thing that I see in the comments, I'm going to go ahead. Sting like a bee. Roxanne, thank you so much. She says that's a whole lot of greatness to celebrate in 1 week, in one
That's right.
weekend.
That's right.
Hmm.
And everything
I'm
will
going to
be
have to
okay.
agree with her.
That's right. As long as you keep your my wife's name out your mouth, we're all good, right? We're all good. We're all good.
Yeah. And
Oh,
I,
Eddie. Oh, Eddie.
oh my gosh, when we talk about some of the movies and some of the things that came, now we went back 21 years to Ali, but thinking
Ali
about
Kumbaya.
thinking about 2022 and the movies and TV shows or TV series that we liked, reviewed, and talked about. There's been a lot of top 5, top 10, top 30 of those films and movies. And Michael, I'd love to ask you for last year, 2022, what were your favorite top 5 movies?
Well, Val. I mean,
Mhm.
I sometimes this to me, I gotta say, is
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever felt this, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to express it, but in
Mhm.
a way, it's kind of maddening to me. And
Maddening to you.
yeah,
Okay.
let me explain. Let me explain why. Because each year, kind of you think about what happened to you during the year. You think about
Mhm.
like experiences you've had, and then these award shows come up and they nominate these people for these various awards,
Mhm.
and they say this is the best of this year.
Mhm.
One of the movies that'll probably get nominated for Best Picture and have people in nominated in various categories for the Academy Awards hasn't even come out yet. It comes out on Friday. So someone's going to look back and say, well, that was one of the best movies of 2022. How could it have been? It wasn't even released in 2022.
22.
Do you know
Isn't that isn't
what
that
I'm
unfair
saying?
though? But isn't that unfair? I
I
think
mean,
it's unfair.
I don't yeah, it is. It's also kind of like it's disorienting at times when you
Mhm.
go back and you say, "Well, the best thing of this year was that," and it's like, "Wait a minute, that came out in February of the following year. How could it be the best of this? What are you doing?" Well, well, they, and then you have to kind of step back and go, these things are set up for people to pat themselves on the back and award themselves things. And that's nice. The thing
Mhm.
that I enjoy is actually watching the movies. I
Me
do
too.
look at the lists that come out or people talk about it. So I'm glad you asked about it. But in a way, it's like, okay, but how could that be the best of something? And there was like no way to get to it. There's no way to watch that. What are you talking about? So here,
Exactly, exactly.
let me break this down real quick. And I'm gonna add is
And
you asked, I'm gonna give you five and a
give me
half.
5.
And a half.
Okay, great.
All right.
And
All
really
right.
quickly and really
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
before you get started, thank you so much, Kevin. We're sharing this with the chat.
Yeah.
What
Tell
was
us.
one of your favorite movie from 2022? Throw it in the chat and we'll go ahead. Thank you so much for that, Kevin.
I know.
The
And then there's
floor is
some
yours,
people,
Michael. Go
and
ahead.
then there's some people that see something that came out in 2021, they see it in 2022, and for them, that's the best thing they saw in 2022. And it's like, you know what? It won awards last year. Well, wait. Well, I just saw it. You know what I mean? So here, you're looking
Exactly.
at a picture of Glass Onion. Glass Onion
Mhm.
certainly is on my list of best
Mhm.
movies of the year. If you only watch it for Janelle Monae, that's enough. That's enough to make it worthwhile. Seriously.
What about Daniel Craig, our resident
If you
James Bond? Was
if
he
you like
okay?
if you like James Bond, He's cool. James Blunt is cool in it, with his country, foghorn leghorn accent going again.
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
Janelle Monáe makes that movie twice over. Haha, and if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So there's Glass Onion.
Mhm,
Let me see if you're throwing stuff up. Everything, everywhere, all at once. We certainly talked about that a lot. Val, I know that was a movie
mhm.
that I had mentioned to you, and you got to see, and I was very happy about that. I think I saw that movie in the theater a couple of times, and
I
now
saw
it's
it.
been running on
Yeah.
Showtime, right? So
Mhm.
the whole
Yeah.
world is getting to see that movie, and I think that that might be the best movie of 2022. And it does something else. It's not only great in and of itself, people are
Mhm.
able to actually watch it and
Yeah,
see
that's
it.
a
So
bigger thing. That's a
and that
bigger
is
thing,
and
yes.
then that means something. And that's
Mhm,
and a couple of my other movies on here, with the exception of one, are also accessible to you.
mhm,
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Has that popped
mhm.
up on Disney Plus yet? I know it's coming. It's
It's
coming
coming,
very
it's
soon.
coming. Yeah, it's coming, I think, in February because I feel like they're releasing it on Disney Plus to kind of
Sooner than
honor
ever.
when
Yeah.
yeah, when the first Black Panther hit theaters, it was February of 2018.
Was it?
Mhm. I
Wow.
will
Wow.
clearly forever
Okay.
remember that
Okay.
because we did a whole thing
Oh, no
in New
doubt. I'm
York.
not doubting it
Kevin,
at all.
Kevin, Roxanne, you guys remember when we did our red carpet thing and on what was that,
Oh, no,
34th
no, I'm
Street?
not doubting it at all, but I know that, Black Panther was one of those unique movies, almost like Get Out when it came out at that point,
Mhm.
where it just kinda stayed.
Mhm.
People continue to see it and it didn't matter when it came out. It's like, "Yeah, I saw it. How many times did you see it?"
Exactly.
Like, "How many times did you see it?" Yeah, exactly. Here's another one that hopefully people got to see in theaters. If not, I know it's streaming widely. That is The Woman
Mhm.
King. The Woman
Of
King,
course.
starring
Of
Viola
course.
Davis, directed by Gina Bythewood, right?
Prince Blythe Ryfoot.
Prince.
Yes, we love
Okay,
her.
so love her.
Mhm.
And I got two others. I'm sneaking two others in here. All right. One of them is a
Of course.
documentary. It's called The Descendants. It's a
Mhm.
documentary called The Descendants. It is available on Netflix. It is a documentary about the last slave ship that came into America. And what makes
Mhm.
this so unique is that you see this place called Africatown, Alabama, and you hear this story. Now, here's the thing about it: this last ship came in after slavery was illegal. After it was illegal. So the person
Wow.
that brought it in did so illegally, broke the law, and tried to hide it. And it has taken
Mm.
more than 100 years to actually uncover the case, and you see it there in the film. The last one I'm sneaking in as my 5.5
You're so
is
cute.
this. I saw this over the weekend. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? So is that a 2022 movie or 2023?
I
Should I
don't
not
know.
should I not even mention it because it's 2023, right?
You can go ahead and
But
mention
it
it.
but
Go
it
ahead
came
and
out
mention
but
it.
it came out in 2022, but I didn't get to see
Okay.
it because
Okay.
I don't
All
think
right. What
everybody got
movie
to see
was
it.
it? What movie was it?
The name of the movie is called Tar, Tar, and
Okay.
it stars Kate Blanchett.
Mhm.
And it is interesting. I've only seen it once, and it's one of those rare movies, Val, where you have I feel like I gotta watch it again because
So you can get it.
I know what I saw. I'm pretty sure what I saw, like 85%, but it could
Mhm.
be something else. Something else could have happened in there, and I don't know. I'm interested in that conversation. Val,
So
that's my list.
our
What is
so
yours?
So some of ours kind of intersected. So that's the reason why I kind of waited to re-show what I'm showing. So of course, Wakanda Forever Black Panther is on my list because I love the way Ryan Coogler allowed us as an audience to collectively
Look how
grieve
lovely
the
they're
passing.
lit. Look how beautifully they're lit in that picture. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, and in the same way
Oh,
that we think of Michelle Obama as our forever first
oh,
lady, Angela Bassett,
Arsenio.
portraying Queen Ramonda will forever be our queen of Wakanda. So that's
Golden Globe winner.
Golden Globe winner from last week, so we're really excited about that. And then of course, Till.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
a
A
tough
top 10.
subject.
That's on the top 10. Yep.
And they definitely dealt with the topic very sensitively. And Whoopi Goldberg was one of the executive producers for this. And what I will say is the lead actress on this, Danielle Dagwire,
Hmm.
she has been nominated. I think this cast has been nominated for a SAG. So I'm
Rightfully
looking to
so.
see. I'm looking to see what Oscar buzz will come and float around that. Of course, we both mentioned The Woman King. It would be nice if Viola got nominated, but I'm not sure because she's a winner
Look at
from
those
before. But
arms. Look at those
I,
arms. Oh my God.
I
Oh my
know.
God. Boy, you think she could put up some threes with those arms? My
Right,
God,
exactly.
the
This
muscle
is my
arms.
5.5 movie, so this is Nope. I enjoyed it. It didn't make sense, but it was enjoyable to me, and I
I
feel, you know.
you know what? I was surprised at how many best of lists Nope
Mhm.
made.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, I think, much more than you did. I thought it was a really interesting movie.
Mhm.
I thought it was a rather long movie,
Okay.
and I want
Mhm.
to volunteer myself to both the esteemed director of Nope, who
Jordan
directed
Peele.
Nope, Jordan
Jordan
Peele,
Peele.
as well as Sheldon Lee, the esteemed Mr. Sheldon Lee, and I would like
Mhm.
to nominate myself as an honorary editor so that I might edit
See,
their
chop it
movie
down a little bit more.
so I can take
Mhm.
off the half hour that they feel is necessary, which I think none of their audience feels is necessary. It was about a half hour, at least a half hour too long, which was okay
Mhm.
because I went to sleep during that half hour. Anyway,
Oh, good gracious. Oh, good
no, no,
gracious.
it was
And
my
then,
Top
of
Gun.
course, what got me back in the movie theaters, thinking, "Oh my lord, I don't COVID, who wants to be bothered with it?" And just kind of admiring Tom Cruise as a producer. He was a
Mhm,
producer on the Top Gun, Maverick. I
mhm,
w two of the 5 movies or 6 movies that I have on my list are technically sequels. And Top Gun Maverick is a sequel to the 1986 Top Gun. And Tom fought for this film to be shown in theaters. And it was a wonderful decision
Well, what
because
did
I
what
believe,
you
yeah,
yeah, oh, no, financially, it was,
financially it was a wonderful decision. But
it say Paramount. So, anyway, but Val no, it did, it say Paramount, pretty
Mhm,
much.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
it's probably the reason they're gonna get to launch MGM Plus as a streaming channel because the
That
rights
would be
to
fun.
Top Gun. But Val, can I ask you about this film?
Of course. Go ahead.
What did you hear? Can you tell me, like, can you kinda narrow down something that you really liked about it? About Top Gun Maverick.
What I am afraid of heights. However, I love being in the air.
Okay,
So I noticed the filmmaker, you are in the cockpit with them. And I
okay,
noticed that was what was the draw for the first one.
okay,
I
okay.
wasn't really into it I was a teenager when the first one came out, but this
Mhm,
one, it just was beautiful cinematography, and to me, it had a very solid story, and I love the way
okay,
the writing honored Val Kilmer, who unfortunately does have issues with speaking. He's been battling
mhm,
some health issues, and the way he was written in. How things kind of threw back to the
mhm.
original, even if you had not seen it, it was just done in a beautiful way. So it got me back in the theater, and I was like, wow, this is great. So, and I Tom Cruise, I don't know him personally, but he's he's a
Yeah,
great
I got
actor.
no problem with Tom Cruise.
I got no
I'm not
problem.
here
I got
to
no problem. Yeah.
I'm not here to Jared Carmichael, Tom Cruise. But what I would say is this: the things that you said that you liked about
Mhm.
Top Gun, you can find in a smaller movie with an African American lead that has a lot of those beautiful aerial shots called Devotion. And Devotion, I know is a movie we talked
Mhm.
about earlier in the year that also is available free now if you have
Mhm.
Paramount Plus. It's
Oh,
there.
wonderful.
So
Yeah.
Devotion is there. It's about one of the first or the first African American naval pilot, and it goes into this story, and it is a great story. And the shots, those flying shots, in kind of an
Yeah, they yeah.
older, fighter plane, it's great. It's really great. And if you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's the same place where you can find Top Gun Maverick. It's the same spot. Devotion.
Right. And thank you so much. Kevin says in the chat that Top Gun was his favorite.
Really?
And then yeah, he said that was
Really?
that was his favorite. It might have been entertaining. Thank you so very much, Mark. We
Really?
see you saying hello. And then of course putting the your films in everything everywhere all at once. Guys, this is gonna be showing up in award season everywhere.
Because it's
Descendants,
everything. That movie is it has
everything.
everything
Mhm.
in it.
E
What is it? Is it a
everything in it.
drama?
The
Yes. Is
woman
it a comedy?
right,
Yes. Is it an
yeah,
action
right.
movie? Yes. Is it
Yes,
a
mhm.
superhero movie?
The
Yes. It's
the
all of
Woman King, the Black Panther, Wakanda, Glass Onion, Knives Out. That's actually available on Netflix, so that's a great thing. And then, of course,
it.
mine, The Woman King, Nope, Until, kind of the same one. Black Panther, of course, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then, of course, at the bottom of that top 5 is Top Gun Maverick. There's others. Oh, good gracious. Oh, you see, Mark. Thank you, Chrissy. Chrissy said she loved The Woman King. And we you know what? We haven't seen that one, Kevin. We haven't seen Avatar 2, The Way of the Water. I haven't seen that. And
And I
Michael,
won't. I didn't see the original Avatar, so sorry. I mean,
ooh, okay. All right.
I ended my relationship with blue people with the Smurfs.
What in the
The
world?
Smurfs
What?
were the last blue people I was cool with. So I'm good. Sorry.
Oh my
Sorry.
gosh. I can't believe this. But anyway,
Smurfette?
I,
Yeah, buddy. Smurfette.
so
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's time for the coach.
My
Hey,
that,
it's Coach Tony. How
hey
are you?
Mama called him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. I tell you,
Yeah, motherfucker. Hey, hey,
I
hey.
tell you,
You can
matter
say
of
that
fact,
now
Mike.
that he's passed away. You can say it now he's
Hey,
passed away. Wouldn't say it to his face though.
matter of fact, Mike. I was sitting in a barber shop right here in 1952 when Martin Luther King showed up right next to me. I was
Did you
right
say
here. He
Martha
showed up right
Luther
next to
King?
me.
Did you say it like that for real?
Martin Luther King.
We gonna do that?
Martin Luther King. He
Luther
showed up right
King.
here in the shop, right next to me, and we looked out at that boy and said, "His name is Cassius Clay," and I said, "His name and Cassius Clay. I'm calling Clay. I'm calling Clay."
Hey, Martin Luther the
OMG.
King. Oh
Hey,
boy.
I love what you and Val said, but
Greatest.
y'all missed the biggest movie of the entire year.
Oh
Uh-oh.
no, which one did
Oh
we
no. Oh
miss?
no. Here
Who
it
did we
goes.
miss?
It was called Interludes Talk on Tuesday, with his character Val, the voice, the educator, and the sports hero. Y'all ain't seen it. You better hit that subscribe button. It's coming live to you every week in your living room, your podcast, your computer, your iPod, your cell phone, your Android, whatever. You
Well,
better
I
get it.
recognize Val the voice. She was in that Tracy R. Kincaid music video. I seen her.
Hey, she's on that red carpet too, Mike. I just
Oh,
want
I
to.
saw her on the red carpet too. I know. I
Hey,
know.
you know something?
I'm
Hey,
just
hey,
happy to
Mike.
be here. I'm just
Val,
happy to be here.
I think Val got one of them long veils. You remember the old Spike Lee movie? We just sit on the sidewalk like this, and the sidewalk is moving, and you just moving on down the sidewalk, and ain't nobody
You just
walking.
gotta float. You're floating,
Right?
like
Floating next to to the brick
You
building,
just be
the
good.
brick
You just be
wall
like this.
in the
You just be like,
background. Woo. Oh, that Spike Lee
that. Oh,
shot. Oh my.
that is too
that's the
funny.
joy.
That is
Hey,
100%
I
too
like
funny.
you guys' movie, and Kevin, my man's in them. I'm gonna agree with you. I love Top Gun. That was one of my favorite movies of the year, Mike. You know,
Yeah.
and I like you guys said everything except for one movie you left off, and I was really
Okay.
surprised.
Okay.
And it was
Okay,
Okay.
in
which one?
my top 5, and that was Till, about the Emmett
I
Till
mentioned
story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Till.
No, Val had that. Val had
I
that.
think
We saw
Okay.
it.
so.
We
Yeah.
saw it both. I mean, I think if I did a top 10, it would be in there. I don't know about a top 5.
Yeah.
It was
Idris Elba
very
movie,
good.
the
It was
Beast.
very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
I was on a plane. I saw Idris Elba's movie, The Beast. I was tripping because first of all, the line didn't hurt
Hold on
everybody
now.
except for one person.
Wait a minute.
He
Hold on
he
now.
plugged it out with the line.
The, the,
Coach, that's a film. I'm going to say this real quick. That's the film that I believe Idris needed to make a mortgage payment. I'm
so
going to
did
put
Will
that out
Packer.
there. It was a
So did Will
mortgage
Packer
payment. He had
too,
to pay
right?
something. He had to pay
Will Packer
something.
was needed a check too, right?
But
He,
but
Is
he
that
Val,
right?
needed a check too.
but Val, he a house DJ now. He packing in 100,000 at a football stadium. I don't know what he doing with that movie. He could have used that weekend and went down to Ibiza and jumped on the turntables and probably made more pay.
Maybe he shot it from a Ibiza, coach. Maybe
Hey,
it was
there you
just
go,
like,
Mike.
he wakes up around like 11 o'clock the next day after getting up at 3 p.m. to put on the records, and he's
Right,
like, all right, I got a lion. Yeah, I got it.
I got it.
I
He
can
gonna
beat
he
a
gonna
lion.
he gonna eat everybody up. But when he get to me, he gonna bite me 9 times. I'm still gonna beat him up.
Yeah, I mean that's a role that's a if there's ever a rock role, that was the rock role, right? Here's a lion. Oh, the rock's gonna take the lion and throw it around. Like, okay.
And then he
We had
punched
a
the lion in the head, the lion fell out. And then his homeboys, the other two lions, just happened to show up. Like, oh, hold on. You jumping on my board? Let me get some of this.
all right. Well,
Let me get
really,
some
really,
lion.
let me go ahead and break this up real quick. Earlier today,
How do you
the
get lion?
Bears announced that they have a new president and CEO, Kevin
Yeah.
Warren.
Yeah, this
So,
news broke
Coach,
over the weekend.
this news. So,
It broke over the
Coach,
weekend. The
what do
announcement
you what do
was
you think about this?
I like it. You got a brother that they're going to move. I'm just hoping. And this will go back to Mike's famous words.
Hmm.
I'm hoping they don't Lovey Smith him, as they say back in the day. In other words, they give
okay.
him the opportunity to come to Chicago and to build on what. The only thing I don't like about this, Val, is that our beloved Bears are on the way out of downtown Chicago, heading to the northwest suburbs in Arlington
Okay.
Heights, right next to O'Hare.
Nope, no
So
words with that.
he's going to deal with that situation, and and I don't know
That's
what that's
fine.
going to be.
Fine with me. I'm okay with that. Hey, I got it.
Well,
Hey,
Coach, Coach,
coach.
can
No
you,
problems with that.
Coach, can you go ahead and introduce our guest for today?
Well, I tell you what, before I get into that, Mike, Spring, Kevin, all the guys on it, you guys had questions. If you guys wanted to know
I
how
know.
to jump
I know where it's
in
going. I know
to
where it's
this music industry, and we've been talking about movies, we've been talking about everything in sports. This guy, my buddy from the West Coast, and by the way, Val and Mike, he's a Big Ten guy with us. You know what I'm saying? Big Ten loving this Midwest, Penn State graduate. This guy is an executive on right now, which is with the company right now in Blueprint Sports. And all you guys looking at those after credits when they come to entertainment and music, he is also Chief Revenue Officer with Access. So if somebody looking for some Mary J. Blige tickets or some other tickets, you may want to ask him tonight.
don't do that to this man.
Oh, don't do
Don't
that. Don't
don't
do
don't
that.
put
But,
don't
but
don't
nah,
put
nah,
Mary
yeah,
tickets on him.
don't throw him on the bus. But he's a marketing guru. He's tied to everything: the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, NCAA, NASCAR. I mean everything. So let's bring on none other than my guy, Mr. Rob Sign of Blueprint Sports, baby.
Hi, Rob.
Look at that.
Welcome.
Right.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey.
What's up, buddy? What's up,
Hey.
Rob?
It's good to see everybody. I tell you what, I got some new movie lists, a new movie list now. Listen to you guys. Thanks for all that advice.
Oh yeah,
Thank you for being here
Do
with
you
us.
have a top film that you liked from 2022?
Well, I like you guys. I loved Maverick. I thought that was outstanding. One of the best films I've probably ever seen. I don't know. I'm happy that movies are coming back. I think COVID really kind of set us back. There were some good ones, but I miss the great movies. I miss going to theaters. I can't wait for probably another year when there's a lot more happening. This summer coming up looks outstanding. No, there's a lot of good ones out there, but I'm looking forward to the better ones coming.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
these two guys, Rob, Mike, and Val, they're our movie and entertainment gurus. So
Totally agree.
when I told them you was coming with us, they really loved it because you take care of both the segments, the entertainment side with these guys and sports side with me. It's just
Yep.
absolutely fantastic, you know.
So Mr. Sign,
Yeah,
I
that's
got
your
a
problem
sports
too. I don't have
question.
time.
Yeah, I
Go
got a
ahead.
sports question for you. I got a sports question for you because so Coach Tony identified you as a guy, Penn State coming out of the Big Ten. Certainly, the Bears have put themselves in the hands of the former commissioner of the Big Ten. Coach Tony was throwing out, yeah, his brother. That's great. That's not what's impressive about me to me about this man. The things that he has accomplished in the Big Ten, the things that he's done marketing
Yep.
wise, brand wise, to create new streams of revenue there. Can you tell us, those of us, beleaguered, beaten down, worn out, 3-14 this year, Bears
Yeah.
Mhm.
fans, what we can expect or what we should expect coming in, and not just for the Bears, but for the NFL, bringing Mr. Warren back into the NFL family. What can we expect?
Well, I think the family is the right word because he's got a lot of good experience in the NFL, and he was an interesting hire. He was one of those hires at the Big Ten that was not from traditional college athletics, so it was super interesting to see them bringing in a business exec from the NFL. Now he goes back to the NFL. One of the appeals I think for him, one of the things I think he's really looking forward to getting his hands on is his new venue, and it's going to be really the opportunity to build out this entertainment district and help the Bears move into the next decade and next century of what the stadium looks like and what the stadium feels like. That is one of the holy grails for sports executives, to get in to help be a part of building a stadium. So for him, I think he brings in a lot of experience with the Big Ten. I mean, I was reading a synopsis the other day that talked about when COVID hit and he canceled the season and then reinstated the season, and
Hmm.
um,
Right.
Mhm.
went from the schools that were traditionally in the Big Ten to suddenly he's helped bring in USC and UCLA from the West Coast. Now the Big Ten stretches coast to coast, which is helping with recruiting and TV deals and everything. And suddenly all the schools are getting hundreds of millions of dollars back in TV revenue that they weren't getting before. So of course it's attractive to UCLA and USC to be able to move into that. So he understands networks, he understands broadcast, he understands entertainment. It's going to be amazing to see what that beautiful venue looks like when they get it done in the next probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
unlike Coach Tony, see, I'm okay with it. Move the Bears out of that, that flying saucer by the lake, because there's nothing good. It's gonna.
Flying
There's no
saucer?
revenue that thing can create to get the players that team needs to succeed. It's never going to happen. We're not Green Bay. We can't have like a little spot in the middle of a neighborhood and do what they've done. We need a real, like you said, an entertainment district. Arlington Heights is beautiful. Arlington
Well, the
Heights
racetrack is going to be used for it.
they can afford it. Arlington Heights has its own media base as well, with
Yep.
the Daily Herald situated there. They're out in this beautiful area. It certainly have public transportation already set up. The thoroughfares are ready to go. I'm all in. I'm all in on this. So I'm wondering, in terms of what you see more projects like this. Can you tell us, what does this mean, not just for us as fans, but also players and companies coming in seeing, oh wow, the Bears. This is not, your grandpa's Bears. They're going in a whole
Yep.
different direction. And there's some exciting things that are possible. You coming in, you talking to athletes, you're talking to people who are looking for venues. What excites you about these changes we're seeing, not just in the NFL, but in other leagues as well?
Well, you don't have to look much further than down the street from my house at SoFi Stadium in LA with the Rams and the Chargers and that
Wow.
whole
Yeah.
complex right there. That is 7 miles from where I live, and it is already one of the busiest venues in the world, and it is probably the most impressive. And they are just breaking ground or just getting to the point where they can build out the entertainment district. They're going to have apartment complexes. First off, the property values went through the roof around this place in Inglewood,
I
and the same
bet.
thing will happen out in Arlington. But you look at all the restaurants, all the idea is to get people to be there, to stay there, to continue to spend money. The NFL Network put an office out there, so their West Coast headquarters is right there. So you're right; it brings prominence and it plants a flag in the ground as far as, look, the Bears are not just, like you said, your grandfather's team, but look at the new age version of it, and the team's going to like it. The players are going to like it from a facility standpoint, from a from a cool factor. It's going to be the place that they're going to want to come. Now, the NFL does a really good job of, having salary caps and making sure that they keep things really organized, unlike college free agency. But SoFi Stadium is the best example I can give you right now of how they've taken that. And now the LA Clippers are building their Intuit Dome Arena right next door, and you got the Forum next door. And so it becomes all of that in a space that was totally underused, and the Bears will do the same thing. The Bears, you look at it and think about what they're going to do. Not only is it going to be a football stadium, but think about concerts and think about entertainment. What kind of district can they put in there where they can
I
have small
know.
theater shows? They can
Get
have
those Mary J.
festivals.
Blige
They can
tickets
do a
for
lot.
us from there, right?
Yeah,
You can get us those
Yep,
Mary J.
yep.
Blige tickets out from Arlington
Yep.
Heights. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So it's exciting, and it's good. It's good for the league. It's good for sports in general because it continues to raise the bar.
Yeah, and I was thinking about when COVID struck and literally shut down. We took COVID seriously when first, I think the NBA, I think they were the first major to say we got to stop and we can't play anymore. And going forward, how does it best serve when things like a new venue is created? I remember I lived in Brooklyn for 18 years, and they built up the Parkway Center. And the same thing that you just mentioned, all of the property values, and a lot of people unfortunately lost their or were kind of pushed out of that neighborhood because of this building. But does it benefit? I'm assuming it does benefit, but then what more could be expected if the Bears in Arlington Heights? I don't want to travel to Arlington Heights. I'm just going to be honest with you about that. I don't want to go
But
out
you
there.
might go once though, right? At least.
Yeah, and I would want to stay overnight because I am in the city. I'll just be clear about it. I'm in the city and just probably stay overnight. So hopefully there's hotels, there's restaurants, there's a whole thing, so
Oh,
I
you
can
know
make
what?
a whole
It's near
weekend out
O'Hare.
of it.
It's by O'Hare. Of course, there's hotels. Of course, there's venues.
I don't
It's
like
already
O'Hare. I'm
there.
just gonna be honest with you. O'Hare is not really in Chicago. It really isn't. Midway is in Chicago, not O'Hare. I'm
I
sorry.
know
It's
that. You know that I know that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there's already an infrastructure there. New things are going to come in and build up around there. It'll be amazing. So, yeah.
Well, I think the other
well,
thing too to think about
that's
is
a
like
prayer.
is the community side of it, right? The practice facility, giving the kids a chance to get out there and practice, and they'll build all sorts of fields and speaking of fields, and have a lot more
There
going
he is.
on in the community.
Number
The
one.
community besides just football games. So it's going to be great to be able to see. The Rams, actually the Chargers are building their practice facility out here nearby. So that's going to create a whole bunch of opportunities. So NFL teams are understanding that it's not just playing football games on Sunday or Monday, but it's all about how can you engage the community around it, entertainment, the youth sports fields, business and meeting facilities, and just making it a center hub as much as possible.
And somebody's going to want to coach the Rams. I mean, when McVay eventually steps away, which he's expected to do,
Heck yeah.
and I don't blame him. I mean, don't you want to coach a team in SoFi? I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same draw. I've been down to that beautiful, the house that Jerry built down there in the other Arlington in Texas, and that's beautiful. What a beautiful place. That is a beautiful place for
Oh,
football.
I
They may have a football team playing there. Who knows? They actually won a playoff game. So,
okay. I
um,
Yeah, and I wanted to ask about that because that was now I don't know if it will be the last game for Tom Brady for Tampa Bay, but Rob, what's your thoughts on gosh, I lost the train of thought. Tom Brady, do you think he'll be retiring after this season? Because it's hard to tell.
I like to have fun with it, but I think he's going to be a Raider. I think he's going out to Vegas to reunite with Josh
Wow.
McDaniels, and is going to try and bring the silver and black back to prominence.
Michael, Coach, what do you all think?
Well, he's a big golfer.
Speechless.
He's a big golfer. That much I do know. And he's on a 1-year contract. He's signed to go anywhere. He's already made his mind up. He's not going back to a cold weather. But wherever he does go, it's going to be hot. And it's going to be that. So I think, like Rob said, I'm looking at my Tennessee Titans, like Rob mentioned a moment ago. We got a new stadium we just got approved of. We're going to build it in a parking lot directly across the street, right where we already got Nissan Stadium on the front side of about 65. And now you got the Bears coming. Rob, do you think that these new football stadiums are not a new thing for the future that these teams are about to start building? Because their capacity is not big. Like I think that Chicago's going to be kind of like Tennessee. Tennessee's maximum capacity is going to be like 65,000.
hold on a second, Coach.
More about
Coach,
value.
hold
All right,
on.
hang on.
Coach, it took a second for that. Rob just came in here and dropped the bomb. It took a second. That hit, and I'm still recovering from that. Okay, so because you got a heck of a point. Now I think as I begin to process this, so Rob, they keep Josh then. If they get TB12, they keep Josh as coach.
Yeah, they keep Josh. Yeah, they keep Josh.
And because there's two words that I think would entice Tom Brady to go to Las Vegas, and it's not Josh McDaniels. It's these two words: Devontae Adams.
Adams. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and Josh
He
Jacobs
would have
too.
a receiver. Oh, yeah, a running back. He'd have a running back that didn't have to rest 2 weeks to try to run 12 yards. Then he'd have a receiver who is a proven receiver. He can even catch balls from Carr. And oh my goodness, really? You have made probably half of my family ecstatic. They're like diehard Raider fans. They're Bay Area Raiders fans. They don't care where they play. They still down for the Raiders.
Well,
Coach,
Dana White
I never
from
thought about
UFC
this.
came out.
My head hurts. Ow.
Dana White from the head of UFC came out and said that TB12 was almost a Raider years ago. So he thinks it's very, very likely.
Oh, wow.
We'll see. We never know. We never know.
Well, you know what?
I can see it. I can actually see this. That I think is more likely than him returning to Tampa Bay. What do you think, Coach Tony?
I don't know. I think that I know he's not going back to Tampa Bay. We know that.
Right. Okay, so going to the Raiders is more likely than going back to Tampa Bay.
I think he's going home. I think he finally puts up his shoes.
He can't go home. No, he can't go home because things look pretty good at home. I don't think
pretty good.
Home.
Well, I'm just saying.
P-U-R-T-Y good. I don't.
San Francisco.
I'm saying, Rob, you remember Jordan made his last second shot on Bryant. He should have went home then, but he goes to Washington and looks like crap. And then Mike finally said, you know something? I need to jump into Jordan business. I think Tom did say, he ain't got no more Giselle, right? She gone.
Oh, she left. And Mark says,
and he's one season past due. If he'd have known he'd have had a crappy year like this, Rob, right? Follow. If he'd have known he had a crappy year like this, maybe Giselle would have still been hanging out with him because she told him to leave last year.
Might have retired.
Yeah, and Mark says that he might not retire for another 10 years.
Yeah, but he got to play somewhere. I mean, there's only so many teams. I mean, he can't
He can't play on his own.
He can't play on his own.
the thing I also want to ask about, Ralph, before we get too far about football, is that, your background extends this stuff. And I'm going to go back to a point that Val made earlier, going back to the COVID, during the COVID situation, me as a coach, you and I have talked about different things. The NCAA had the wonderful opportunity to allow these kids to jump into this NIL business and really start to make money and get an opportunity to put some funds in their pockets because of college scholarships and all that. Now that you're seeing the change in venue with the companies and the corporations and the brands, how do you think that this is going to move forward? Do you finally think that it's going to be a situation that's going to be positive for these high school? Now that high schools jumped into it, right? We got all 50 state NCAA, but there's only 27 states for high school. When do you see all this kind of coming to fruition, that you got high school and college now, and these kids are going to be able to, make money from these NIL deals?
Well, first off, I think NIL is a great thing. I think it's about time. These guys and gals have been working for years, their whole life, to become a D1 athlete, D2, D3, and they get to this point and they should be able to make money. If you're on scholarship for theater or for music, you can go cut a CD or make a movie and get paid while you're in college. These athletes, definitely, it's about time. So I love NIL and think it's great. I think 2023 is going to be a big year. You're going to finally see a quasi-mature version of NIL come out, but the ability to make money off your name, image, and likeness, it's about time. High school's tricky because you then begin to get into inducements where not only high school kids can make money while they're in high school, which I again think is great because there's some super talented, young men and women that are out there playing high school sports. Here in California, one of the top, female basketball players in the country is playing out here, and she's getting endorsement deals left and right, and people are looking at working with her, and she's 17 years old,
Wow.
which I think is tremendous. Take advantage and get going with it now. The gray area becomes when you start to say, hey, come to my college now, and I'll pay you $1 million because you're so good in high school. And that begins to be a little tricky. But I think in general, more and more rules are getting put around this, more and more structures getting put around this, more organizations are getting involved and agencies are helping. But it's great because companies now are understanding, for years, the only way I could support student athletes is by being an official sponsor of a school. Now I can support the quarterback, the basketball player, the baseball player, the softball player, the swimmer. And that's how I can be around the players now. And that's the best way to get access to them because they're the true talent.
Correct. Yeah, and the funny part about that is what you just mentioned about California. Talk about the ugly side of it, because I just read an article about the kid that's in Georgia that don't have it. He's one of the top-notch football players in the country, and I think it's not Georgia. I'm sorry, South Carolina, and they don't have it. And he's one of the top-notch ball players. And now these kids are transferring, going out of state to play because they're losing these hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars for opportunities because their high school state don't have the NIL opportunity for these kids. Talk a little bit about the ugly side of it, and when do you think the high school is going to possibly catch up to the college side of the house?
Yeah, high school. First off, state laws and rules have created an imbalance that's crazy because when college happened, states rushed out to create laws to make it easier for the schools in their state to be able to do NIL, and then quickly repealed them because their border state had a better law than they did, and so they had to go in there and figure out how to make theirs easier, and it became the legislators are spending more time on that than they were doing the things they were elected to be in business to do. High school is going to have to do the same thing. A national high school association is going to probably have to come out and create a semi-blanket interpretation of this that gives rights. There's no reason that somebody in South Carolina shouldn't be able to earn money while they're in high school, where somebody in the state next to them can. And you're right. These super teams are being created. These academies are popping up. Kids are transferring all over the country, and it's not going to be good long term. So someone's going to need to step in and understand. And actually, it's really going to have to happen at the state legislation level, where they've tried to protect student athletes in high school, and now they're going to have to understand we have to give them the ability to kind of make some money and do this as well, maybe in a miniature version compared to what it is when you're in college, because it shouldn't be apples to apple. But there's some dang good high school kids right now that have. What's funny is that part of what they're paying for is their social media. And you got
Correct.
kids coming in high school that've got hundreds of thousands of social media followers. Yeah,
Yep.
why not monetize that?
Well,
Sure.
one of the great stories I saw over, and I don't know how many people caught this over the last week, was the Popeyes kid.
Yep.
So the
Yep.
Popeyes kid getting this deal. So some of you, if I say Popeyes kid, you might think, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the a kid who, as a little kid, kind of gave a side eye when getting his drink at Popeyes and became a
Right.
meme. And this kid, to his credit, becomes a state champion, takes a pretty kind of like spot on, this is the, that was then, this is now picture, and sends it to Popeyes, and Popeyes says, "Come on, let's go." And sends him information like, we can figure out how to work this. And I think that's great, because that kid, he's not a quarterback, he's not a wide receiver, he's not in any of those sort of traditional sort of glamorous kind of position. He's a OL, offensive
Yep.
lineman, 6'1", 330, ding, and he's
Yep.
at Lake Erie Division II, but he's getting the NIL deal,
Yep.
hopefully. It sounded like it's happening. I know Popeye certainly loved the publicity and was all in on everybody writing about it. We'll check back and see if that deal actually gets signed. Hopefully it will. But that's what I think is just amazing, is
Yeah.
that these younger people are very savvy.
Mhm.
And we kind of deride them. Get off your phone. You're not gonna get anything out of your phone. You can get some stuff out of your phone. Yeah,
Yep.
it
Yep.
depends how you use it.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of stuff out there phone, and then on top of that, Mike, kind of like what Rob mentioned a moment ago. I just had that situation this week calling on some of the brands that I'm dealing with. But the first thing, and not the first thing,
There
first
he is.
couple of questions they asked me is, "Hey Tony, I like the athlete, I like the information you showed me, blah 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 blah. But let me ask you a question: what's their social media following?" Exactly what Rob
Yep.
said. Because what happens is, if Valerie got 500 people following her, you got 2,000 people following you, and then I got 5,000 people following me, and they just go by, they usually go by 10 or 15%. Well, if I can sell 10 to 15%, I can do 10 to 15% of my number that I got followers and swallow up yours and Valerie's put together. I become more valuable to that company, and you may be a better athlete, but because my social media brand is better and more following, then the brand wants that because it's going to get out to more people.
Hey, Coach, outside of Sandra Bullock adopting him, this kid's not going to get an NIL deal, okay?
And he going to get some Popeyes, though.
I hope so.
Here we
I
go.
hope he gets the spicy. I hope it's hot.
2-piece. He'll get a 2-piece, spicy, and don't forget
come
to add
on.
in my apple pie.
Come on, kid. No, it's got to be a 20-piece. Come on now.
20.
Biscuits,
It's for life. He's good.
red
Let me
beans
see.
and
Rob
rice.
said
Come
for
on,
life.
man.
Right. Sitting
Orange
in my dorm late at night, I need a 2-piece, man.
red pop. Get a red pop with that? Come on.
Oh, get a red pie with that 2-piece. That'd be nice, Mike. And don't forget my apple pie, man, whatever you do.
Oh, yeah. They had that strawberry cream pie a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I digress.
That's a different
Okay,
segment,
guys.
right? Food.
It's a completely different segment. Oh my goodness.
So good.
Of all of the concerts and big arena deals, the one of the things that comes up every year, and I always think about it, is Super Bowl. And last year the halftime performance won an Emmy, and that just to me was just kind of phenomenal. What in your mind, Rob, makes a great combination between sports and music? When do those perfect blends happen, and how does that benefit, let's say, a concert venue or something like a Super Bowl?
Well, I think the great part about sports and music, a good question, really. The great part about it is athletes want to be musicians, and musicians, some of them want to be athletes. And so it's awesome to see them celebrate each other and their greatness. And you're seeing them wearing jerseys, and you're seeing them at concerts. And so that helps the connection with people who are trying to relate, right? because everything
Mm-hmm.
about sports and music is I want to relate to that person. I want to know what she knows. I want to know what he knows. I want to eat what they eat. I want to be able to train like they train. And so I think that, when you think about going to a music venue or going to a sports venue and they also have great music or great concerts there, that's awesome because it's a perfect blend of, I get to go to a show and I also get to go to a sporting event at the same time. I'm excited to see Rihanna this year. I think she's got some big things planned, and I've seen the promos that came out this weekend. And I actually loved the performance last year. There's a lot of people that had different opinions, but man, there was a lot of great talent.
Interesting. So what are some of those different opinions you heard?
Oh, I heard 50 Cent hanging upside down was a little much, and some of the other, there were like too many people that were in there. But I'm a big Eminem fan. Thought that was great. I just thought all the artists coming together to collaborate, to celebrate all the music was just tremendous, and it's something you rarely see. Usually it's one or two artists, but to have that many of that caliber, that was amazing. But Rihanna should be crazy this year. I know.
Right, exactly. And I think the reason why that Dre, because he has produced for so many folks. He's produced a lot of the music that you heard.
Nobody knows
and
that.
I thought and a lot of people know that, and he's from California, so it just and then it benefited. It was very good that the Rams won, because I think
very good.
That would have been horrible if they didn't.
Very good that the Rams won. And the other part about that too, which was crazy, was that you get the negatives. I've heard, the game got upset. A couple other guys got upset that they weren't invited, and then they interviewed Snoop. I love Snoop's answer. Snoop said, "Hey, I got a complete catalog. I didn't get a chance to do any of that. The only songs I was able to sing were the songs that Dr. Dre produced based on X. So if it was my show, I'd have did it this way, but the Super Bowl didn't call me. So based on that, like Rob said, you got Eminem. He brought the guys, M50, Snoop. Those were those initial guys that got off the Aftermath label. And man, to me, he rocked the house from California.
I thought he did a great job. Yeah, it did win the Emmy. That's a nice award. But I thought it did a really good job because they managed to appeal to people that I knew, that I used to work with in California, who watched that halftime show as a nostalgia show, as all of their favorite, hip hop when they were younger and that age. And as I followed them online, they were like, "Who is this Kendrick Lamar? Why is he there? He should."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That. And and if you talk to anybody 18 or under, he was the reason they were watching that. So it was like almost a kind of a perfect balance there,
Right.
And so I'm interested in what Riri is gonna do. I know that some people are, begging her to come out with new music and not do a preview of what a Las Vegas show might look like. But I don't know. I think Rihanna's gonna do whatever Rihanna wants to do.
I do that. That's Rihanna, Mike. But I'm gonna tell you just one thing, Mike. I'm gonna throw a boomerang real quick. You're gonna love Rob for this, because one of his favorite guys, he got an opportunity to really just be in his corner, is none other than Jesus Shuttlesworth. Val, do you know who that is?
Come on, Val.
Come on, Val. Hey, Rob, we always got to work Val on this show. Trying to get it. Come on, you got to know who Jesus Shuttlesworth is, Val.
That's from the movie. He got game.
He got game. All right, he got game. So Ray was one of Rob's good guys. I love Ray Allen. Thought Ray Allen was one of the best soft-spoken leaders, Hall of Famers that the game has had, and absolutely just love him, his story, and his UConn connection. Of course, that team he was with and everything he did, and then the branch off in the movies. How was that working with Ray and all that, Rob, and just getting to know him as a character, as a person, and things he tried to do in the basketball community?
Yeah, he was great. I was working for the Milwaukee Bucks when he was getting going with the Big Three in Milwaukee in the early 2000s, and then I went to go work for the Seattle Sonics, and he got traded about 6 months later for Gary Payton, and and it was and as soon as he got to Seattle, he called and he goes, "Hey, I need help. I don't know anything about Seattle. What's going on?" But he's my favorite. In fact, on my wall in my house, I have the two jerseys I have Ray in a Sonics jersey, and I have Gary Payton in a Bucks jersey signed by both of them, because it was one of the things I wanted to have from that trade. But Ray was amazing on and off the court. Ray cared, so he would take so much time for people. He would get involved in the community. He would do reading events. He would give back. And then he would go and he would, drop 40 points and a half in a playoff game against Iverson and the Sixers. So he was and is impressive, and he continues to be that way off the court. And I just, you asked me today, he's one of my favorite guys, and the first person that popped in my mind. I just really appreciated him because he was down to earth. He didn't care what job you had. He wanted to spend time getting to know you, and he cared, and he was happy to help whenever he could. And he wasn't one of those superstars that was unapproachable. He was totally there to talk to whenever you needed to.
That's awesome.
Right. Well, you know what, Rob? This has been extremely educational for myself and others, and I had no clue that you you knew Jesus Shuttleworth. That's really funny. Oh my
Get you on that one, Val. Get you, Val. I can't give up all my jewels, Val. I have to throw that boomerang in there for you.
Well, Coach, we want to thank Rob for coming through on Interludes Extra and just kind of giving us a little bit of an education of marketing, and we now know that you're out in LA. So anytime I guess any of us are in those parts of the country,
Absolutely.
we could look you up and possibly get to say or a concert. I don't know. Coach, you have anything?
I went and saw King James last night, so there's always a lot going on out here.
If I'm with him, I'm definitely going.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Sine, thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me. This is awesome.
Buddy. Be good.
Oh my gosh. Coach, you always bring the best guests.
Hey, man, Mike told me.
Ray Allen?
Hey, Mike told me if I'm going to sit on this mountain, I better throw heat like Doc Gooden.
Yeah, Jesus Shuttleworth. You still
I got you with that Jesus Shuttleworth. I knew, Mike. I knew she got to put that finger cap on for me. It's like, wait a minute, hold on.
You can't mess with the Jesus.
About that for a second.
You cannot mess with the Jesus.
Hey, he was the true deal of the first NIL, right? Because Denzel Washington made sure, hey, I'm gonna get some of this.
Oh, Denzel got a lot in that movie, as I recall.
Hey, he was trying, and that was way before NIL, man. So look at it. But hey, I appreciate you guys, and Val, Mike. Again, I'm gonna continue to bring top-notch content to us. Again, as everyone hit that subscribe button, and you're gonna continue to get hit in the head with good content like this.
Oops upside your head.
Oops upside your head. I said oops upside your head. Say what?
Oops upside your head.
The bigger the better. Hey, just because you want it, that man don't mean that I don't want to.
Ooh, I know, and LeBron James, soon to be the star, house party. What is it? 4, 10? What house party?
I don't know what
it was. House party 10. And here's the funny part about that threw me off about that, Mike. And I'm gonna ask you and Val because I know you guys are the entertainment guru of the piece. So I'm looking at the trailer, right?
Yes.
But then I'm looking at the words, how the words are on that screen, and they appear to be a quote unquote Ice Cube produced flick. But then I see LeBron, and I know he got Bron movies.
Right.
So I didn't get a chance to see because the commercial cuts off. So who is the actual producer of the new House Party movie?
I'd have to double. Do you know offhand? But I do know this. I know that whoever did what, I bet the Hudlin brothers got they take.
They got.
Oh yeah, they gonna get. They
definitely got their take.
And the words of Robin Harris, I'm fresh off. You're making me homesick.
All right, Coach.
Hey,
we'll see
I love y'all. We're gonna keep doing this each and every week. Interludes Talk on Tuesday. Sports Talk Coach Tony. I love y'all. Val the voice, Mr. Mike Wamble, and none other than Coach Tony. But you know my words, and I'm out.
He's out. There he goes. There's the coach. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How did he throw the Jesus Shuttleworth up in my
I
face?
I
I would have
I'm
known
surprised
that.
you
And
knew
if I
about the
had known,
Jesus. Val, you knew about the Jesus.
I did. Well, I didn't really. Oh, good
How did you
gracious.
know about the Jesus? You got me on that one.
I should
That
have
was
known, but
nice.
oh my goodness. Oh, good
Yeah, you
gracious.
you darn right. The first NIL deal. Yeah, for sure. All them deals got done in that movie.
So,
Wow.
Michael, what you got planned for
Yeah.
tomorrow?
What I got planned for tomorrow. Well, so we'll talk tomorrow. We'll kind of pick up on some of these ideas we talked about with the movies, films. There are some things that I saw this year officially, even though
Mhm.
technically they're 2022 movies that I think
Mhm.
that you might want to check out. There's some things that are either overlooked or underrepresented, but they certainly are some gems. So um, I like screening in home. I like
Me
streaming.
too.
I
Mhm.
mean, Rob was right and Coach is right, and I certainly enjoy seeing Everything Everywhere All at Once in the theater several times.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but but I like the idea that it's accessible to you. So
Right.
I've been, I wasn't feeling that well over the weekend. It allowed me to binge a bit.
Oh
So I got to
no.
see and check out a lot of different things. So I'll have some of that for you. Do my best around the 7-ish time. We'll try that. It's
Okay.
this is a quite busy week where schools were doing some stuff to honor Dr. King, and I was
Wonderful.
instrumental in it. Some stuff today, so certainly happy to do that. So Val the Voice. Find Your Voice, a podcasting course for beginners, every Saturday 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Your course instructor is Val the Voice Johnson. Of course, this is Pure Lighthouse Media Productions presents Find Your Voice, a podcasting course for beginners.
And our audio podcast will be released on tomorrow, and we'll have a returning guest we've had a couple of times on, Miss Jury O'Neill, our comedian trainer.
Ooh, okay,
Yay. And she's
okay.
got
Author.
new author. We can throw author now to that as well. So she'll be on our audio podcast on tomorrow when we release that. So just guys, I am so excited for some things that's going to be happening soon. Whoa. Please go ahead. If you'd like to be a sponsor on our platform, book time with us, please do so at linktr.ee/Pure Light Media. We'll ask our best in the East, Mr. Springer, to go ahead and put that in the chat. What's your name, Mr. Wamble?
Well, my name is not Val the Voice Johnson, and yours is. And this has been Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday with Val the Voice Johnson.
Guys,
So,
thank you
float
guys
like a
so much.
butterfly, sting like a
Oh,
bee.
sting like a bee. I see Muhammad Ali. There it is. We're out, and we'll be back next week. Peace.